Hi everyone, we will be starting in another 2-3 minutes. In case if you have any kind of a problem, any kind of a question, you have a chat room there. So you can come and type in there your problems if you're not able to hear or see. I hope I am visible to all of you and as well as audible. Let me know if there is any kind of a disturbance. My team will be there to look after it. And so in another 1 or 2 minutes, we'll be starting. And meanwhile, it will be good if you just go to the chat box and introduce yourself. Who are you, what do you do? And then we'll take it from there. And today's topic is very interesting. We have budgeting and ROI digital success. This is one of the core question that a lot of people ask, that how much should I invest on digital? In case if I'm investing, what kind of return can I expect? So those things we'll be covering today. And we'll be taking 30 minutes, 30-40 minutes kind of a session, and then we'll have another 10, 15, 20 minutes for any kind of queries that you have. So, all right, guys, since some of you have already joined in, I don't want to make you wait. We will start the session now. As other people are joining, you can come and join us. And some part of this we will be sharing in a PDF. Some part of this we'll be sharing in our learning management system, but we'll not be sharing the live video most probably. So that's why it's important that whatever queries you have, whatever things you need to ask, you can ask here itself. All right, good. Once again, good evening to all of you. And as I said, today's topic is very interesting, something which I'm very particular about. That is as common, when you look at digital success, it has a lot of dependence on how much money you are investing in and how are you accountable for the money that you're investing in. And we'll try to give more structures around this so that you get more value for the time that you're spending with us. All right, we'll put the okay, so the first thing that you need to look at is when you're looking at there are two approaches. One is you can have a budget. This is the budget that I have in total for my budget, and then you tell me how much budget should I invest into digital and what kind of results that I can get. And sometimes you have that, okay, this is what I want in terms of goals, how much budget is required for that. Okay, and whichever, like most of the startups, SMEs, they do not generally a budget set for marketing. They take the marketing budget as when required. And whereas if you look at most of the established companies, so they do a budgeting towards the financial year start. And in many countries, financial year is starting from April, and the countries the financial year has started already. So when you already budget, look at it, what we can achieve out of it, or if you have goals, then how much money is required to achieve those goals. You take, what you need to do is you need to have a benchmark. So say for example, if you're spending amount of money, each can you expect, how much sales expect, how many leads can you expect, all of those things should be there. In those benchmark is not available to you, and whatever assumptions that you not go well. Sometimes your assumption is that I will be getting say X amount of return, but once you start, you may see that, okay, I'm on X by 4 of the return, not even X by 2 return, not even the half of the return, 1/4 of the return. Kind of problems happens when you do not have a proper marking done. So if you even have you want to go for it, or you have a goal, you want to you need to do a benchmarking. You need to see what is what you, how much money is it taking to achieve certain level of goals that you have. So start with assumptions most of the time, and sometimes you'll start with a benchmark, but those benchmarks sometimes does not work as you expect it. The benchmark starts and you might increase your cost position, you might increase the cost of reach, so that you might have to readjust your budgets or readjust the goals that you have. Somewhere the starting point is either goal or so. Take 1 minute, think about yourself. Where do you want to start? You want to start with goals or you want to start with budget? And some of the people who have not attempted digital, and this is one of the mistakes that I said, is a lot of people who have not done digital yet. So what they do is they say, let me try digital, and let me invest $100 or 10,000 rupees or dollars and see how the return is. Now the catch, if you're investing lesser than what is required to build your assets, I'll be explaining that, then whatever in money that you're investing will not give you any kind of return. So the first tip or first takeaway from the session is, below a certain amount, if you invest, you may have a big failure. And let me give you an example of that. I met a person in UK recently, and he had forced me to do a event, and he said that I want to do this event, and this is AI on near around healthcare, and their target set is the decision makers from healthcare industries, generally the enterprise levels. And they said that in 4 weeks nobody takes decision, as in everybody, we are already too late, so I don't know how much you can get out of this, but whatever you can get, let me try, let me see. Then for the first 2 weeks I told him that nothing is going to happen because you do not have all your assets ready, your websites are not properly done. So what we need to do is retouch the website, and in order to retouch the website, it took 2 weeks, and we invested a certain amount of money. And in 2 weeks we did all the research in terms of UI and UX and design, and we sped it up and we got the website ready. And after that we spent all of our budgeting in all of our investment money in 1 week. We reached out to enough number of people, and within half a week we had almost the event for it, and the event went very successful. This is, remember, this is not a very generic event, this is a very very niche event, and you expected to have very high quality people attending the event. So that is where, if you invest, if we would have taken the money and we would have spent the money on advertisement, if we would have spent on reaching out to people and the ad is not ready, this whole money that we have invested into advertisement would have been waste. And that is why you need to be very sure that your investment is not only to reach out to people, but after that they reach out to a landing page or they will come to certain place, they will they have shown interest in your offering, but they will consider it only after they visit your website or any kind of a web asset. So those things are also important to build. So the first advice to all of you is, do not invest below a certain level. So there is a minimum that you need to invest to make it right. So if you say that, no, my budget is not allowing me to invest that much money, then you will rethink whether you really want to do digital this year, or maybe you can wait for another 6 months, 7 months and invest by putting in the books ready. Okay, and we will explain further on it. And also, the other thing that I've seen is a lot of marketing people, especially the brand managers, they say that, oh, sales is not my KPI, or I don't want to focus on sales, and I just want to focus on building a brand and reaching out to people, advertising, etc. And somewhere in today's digital marketing world, the marketing and sales lines are blurred, and sometimes you can take the customer throughout the journey, and you can create awareness and take the customer throughout and bring them to the sales level as well. So there is nothing wrong in taking a person from awareness to the sales level, even though you are a branding manager or a brand manager. At that time also you can focus on sales, because end of the day every company likes to focus on the top line and bottom line. That's where the company doing sales. And especially in digital, there's a lot of support that marketing people convert those leads and aware customer to the next level, which is basically the sales of it. Okay, and let's look at, so this is core thing that you'll be looking at. If you look at goals, what are the goals that you can look at it? So one goal is you can do branding, one goal is you can get sales, second goal is you can get sales, third goal is you can create assets which can generate the pull. So if you are generating something today, and people can be pulled to you on a daily basis, regular basis, so that you don't have to spend any time to get those people. So that's basically three top level that you can look at it. Now if you look at from a branding perspective, again, depending on which stage your business is, you can do product refresh, you can do positioning or reposition, okay, or if you have positioning, you can strengthen the position, you build a public recall. So multiple things, you can create awareness, somewhere the network might be having a little bit of an issue, so I'm just turning off the webcam for the time being, so that the audio and the audio is visible. All right, so that's where the branding comes into the picture, where you can create either a refresh or a positioning. And when it comes to sales, you can reach out to people who are looking for your product or services through search engine or through other places. and who are closer to the funnels, buying funnel. Give you an example is if you are selling, say some home related items, okay, and at that time people who have recently moved to a new location may be having a higher chance of buying your product. So that is where you can target those people who have recently moved. So that is available on Facebook, recently moved as a behavior and a target, so that you can reach out to those people. So the other part that you can do is sales, and the third part that you can do is sustainability, like adding a lot of content or adding a lot of research where you get ranking on Google, so people will be pulled to you, or you're creating certain type of utilities. Okay, when you're creating utilities, people are finding value in coming back to your website and reusing it, so people will be pulled back to you again and again, and people will visit your website for repeat usage. Now if you see, and what you can do is, like, this is an example where I have taken one of our clients, and what we saw is on the search market where people are ready to buy their products, or where people are very close to the funnel, there is approximately 4.6 million people on a yearly basis who searches for their similar kind of product or services. And on a profile market where I know that, okay, this is the right audience who will purchase a similar kind of a product today, tomorrow, or a year after, or 2 years after, where I want to do the brand building. That's around 170 million people who are available on profile market, which is basically based on their demographic and based on their behavior, so that I can target them. Then I have this much of things available. So I have mapped it saying for digital sustainability as well as for sales, I might want to target these 4.6 million people. And whereas to build the brand, I can go after these 170 million people who is available for me to target them. Okay. Now, if you look at it, overall, this market that I have targeted, they have around 3.6 million purchases every year. This is the whole together. In the market, there are 3.6 million purchases that happens. If there are 3.6 million purchases happens and you have 4.6 million searches, and I'm assuming that people will search this 2 times, 3 times, even after that, the digital influence is more than 40%. And this is something in the category of, house building, house construction, TMT, cement, those category. Even at that category, there is a 40%. So in most of the cases, you will see the influence is 30% to 60% to 18, 90%. So digital influence is very high. So what does that mean? It means they are not buying from digital, they are coming to digital, and from there they are getting influence that which product I should buy, which company for, etc. So research based buying is overtaking brand based buying in certain way. Even if you already are a brand, and when people are doing a research about something, at that time you should be available in front of them, so that there is a higher level of chance. And then you can certainly go after certain impulsive purchases, which you can reach out to people and show the product and people will buy, because there is no decision making based on that in whatever cases. Now if you look at this, if I had X amount of money, where will I invest as a brand or as a company? So the first priority is always to go for brand hygiene. It may be a 5 or 10% of your investment, and I'll explain about what is brand hygiene. So brand hygiene is anything that you need to maintain the branding. So like, say for example, on social media, you want to keep on posting things, just so people know that you are a active brand and you're doing a lot of activities. Or sometimes you want to reach out to the existing audience that you have with the email newsletter, or many other things that falls under the brand hygiene. So that certainly should be done at all the cost, because that is what is keeping you in the business, that is what is helping you in the growth. Second priority, if I have to put myself, I'll put into sales, because sales means there is a funnel which you have already created, or there is a funnel which is already existing in the market, and towards the end of the funnel you put advertisement, and you know how to squeeze that funnel and get that funnel in your favor. And if that is at the right cost, then you have a return from the industry, maybe a price which is acceptable to you. So that should be mastered, as in you need to know how to get those people and get sales out of them. So that will be my second priority. The third priority will be some sustainability in terms of this will increase my funnel, this will thicken my funnel, so I'll have a better funnel if I do this, where I'm investing into SEO or I'm investing into ads which are bringing the pull. And then from there, what I'm looking at is, I'm looking at the priority number 4, which is basically around branding. If I need to invest into certain areas where I can build the brand recall, brand refresh, or brand positioning, so that will give me premiumness. and I can have high return. It can generate a long-term funnel for me. So that's like my priority wise. So if I'm a company or a startup, so what I'll do is I'll certainly invest into brand hygiene, the most minimum that is. Then I will go for the sales and I'll try to master the sales. And after that, if some money is left, I'll go into bringing the sustainability. And after that, if some money is left, I'll go for the branding aspect of it so that I can build myself as a premium brand. So that is what I will do. I'll start with, these are some of the mistakes where a startup starts with sustainability. And what they do is they invest a lot of money into SEO and saying, I want to build something which is more sustainable. That may not be a good thing. There may be exceptions here and there, but that may not be the best strategy. You need to go after, if you're going for SEO, don't go after building SEO for organic growth or sustainability. Build SEO for sales. And it can also be used for short-term sales, that you can invest into such keywords, and those can bring you certain high level of sales in the short term. I can give you examples where I have increased the traffic by around 500 and our sales increased by around 120, 140, 140, in that particular range. And that's like a very, very high level of sales. And this whole ranking that we have got, the traffic which increased by 500 was in a very, very limited period, and we increased the local keywords, and that has always a higher chances of getting you a better sales around it. Okay, so that's the priority. Now, what are the mistakes that you can see when people invest into this? Startups sometimes don't invest much into brand hygiene, or startups sometimes invest too much into branding. And for startups, the investment on branding does not give you the result, because startups and SMEs should get customers through sales and then do amazing service and customer service and customer satisfaction so that they talk about you and you become a brand. You become a brand by investing money into more people with your brand message. You become a good brand by taking care of your customer. That's how the SMEs works. Okay, and sometimes what I see along brand perspective, or the brands which are very established brands, what they don't do is they have increased the funnel, they have reached out to a lot of people, did a lot of branding, but they don't do the later part of the funnel, where a lot of people are researching for their product or similar product, and they are in front of them. So that is where they did some mistakes, and where there can be mismatches. And in this case, depending on, certain companies can have a priority where they want to say that, okay, I will invest a lot more money on sales, I will invest more on brand building only. I can't touch the sales, it is sustainability that matter to me. So those are all areas which are not as per the standards. So when you're taking such steps, always look to involve certain people who can give you a guidance that this is good for you right now or not. Okay, so any queries here, happy to answer those queries, because this is an important sequence. First is brand hygiene. If money is left, invest into sales. If money is left, invest into sustainability. If money is left, invest into branding. So that's the sequence that you will be looking at from investment perspective. Okay, and then what are the, when you're investing in ROI, what are the returns that you can expect when you're investing this kind of money? So one is, it will maintain the state of business, which is basically survival. That it is not that you run the business and you'll be able to survive, right? You will have to keep investing in certain areas where you can get the returns out of it. And then there is sales, where you get leads and connect. And then you have organic growth, where impressions on Google Webmaster. This is something that you should look at, whether the total number of impression is increasing or not. So what happens is, when you are into the second stage or the third stage, you might be getting low count, but the impressions ranking is still good. So sometimes when you're ranking at number 10th or number 9th total thing, your impressions may be very high because you jump from 14th and 10th rank. So what you should look from an organic growth, from an SEO perspective, is not only the number of clicks you are getting from search engines, but also go back to Google Webmaster and see the number of impressions that you're getting. Growth in Webmaster impression is also pretty good to look at it. How many people are directly visiting your website, and where are they going after that? Sometimes people are directly visiting your website to interact with you as a business, so they will give it to branding. But there are people who are directly visiting you and then going to a special section on the website. Like in TechShu's cases, we have TechShu Apple, where we publish the news, what happened today in the industry, which are the news items items that you should always look at. So I've seen that people on a website and then they look at Apple and then they go to the TechShu Apple price and they read more about what happened in the industry. So they did not come to deal with or they didn't come to give business to TechShu. They came to read about Apple. So that is where we can see that there is a pull which this organic content has generated, and this is not coming from SEO, but it is coming from people liking the area and people coming back again and again to read. Okay, and of course, you when you're investing into branding, you will get more more frequency means a set of people. How many times have you reached people? So frequency anywhere between a 3 to 70 to build a some. Then you will see how many engagements you are getting, and then you have something called BHS, which is basically brand health surveys, and you will figure out that how is the brand health score going up. So these are all returns for your investment. Not you getting a leads or you getting a frequent etc. are all from the current year, but you may not get money out of it. Whatever money you're spending in advertisement in terms of investment goes from your current financial year, but the return that you get is not in the current financial year. So when you build a pipeline, the pipeline can be seen in this year, but only be utilized maybe next year. So your investment this year, your return comes back next year. Okay, so you need it from an ROI perspective, and sometimes when you're into websites, mobile content, whatever learning experiences based on your experiment, of those aspects done is all becoming assets to you. You are building something for your business, but the return not coming, but you have invested money. Okay, let me give you a suggestion of this. So these are the returns that you will get. Except leads and sales that you get, there is no direct connection with the money that you are spending, because all the money that you're investing is going from it, going from your financial year. The people are reading, people are brand, people are interacting with your, but they're not giving any money until this happens, right? But that does not mean the people who interacted with will give you sales in the next year or the year after. So always you should invest from this perspective as well as from 1 year perspective or 3 year perspective, and similarly the return should also be looked at not only from but from the next 3 years. But if you're investing into sales itself, you get returns of 5x to 10x this year in itself. Probably in slides it will get even clearer because I've given some examples. So I'm not going to cover much details about what includes into hygiene. So you come on digitalmarketing.com or take any learning management portal access so that you will get what are the things that are included in the hygiene. But some of the things like social media updates on a regular basis to tell people that you're an active brand, data protection across all possible channels and maintaining certain aspect of it, and creative consistency that whatever you do, whether you have a brand guideline, whether this is consistent with this particular year's trend and all of those things, and you're trying to do research and analysis about your competitors, markets, TG, how peers are, etc. All of those things into, as I said, hygiene has to be maintained, and in brand hygiene is particularly very important thing because the end of the businesses go ups and down, but the brand equity that you have to do grow better than rest of the businesses which are running. So brand is the businesses versus the like profitable and the traditional businesses is something that people love to interact, that you can see from the investment perspective. Now, if you see an equation that I always suggest, that on building assets, maintenance, analytics, enhancement, etc., anything asset activities. Asset means your websites, most, any kind of a subsites, you have built content, videos, etc. Those are the things that comes into asset, which even if you stop your market today, but this stays with you. So that if you are investing, you can 1x to 3x. X can be 1 million, 2 million, 10 million. So depending on what scale you are in, you can invest. You can put 5 million into it, or you can put 100,000 as an X. So you look at the investment that you want to do of it. So if you're investing, I have example also with this. If you are investing into resources like agencies, internal teams, so they can in all the tasks and etc. So that becomes 1x investment. So if you are investing into X, it's 1x to 3x. and then investing on people and the team 10x, then you need to invest 4x to 6x on the media for sales and additional content for sales that you can generate more sales out of it. And then you invest 2x to 3x on media for any campaign, brand building. So media means advertisement, so to reach out to more people. Now what happens is sometimes what I have seen is that you're investing say a 1x with agency, and then your total reach that you're doing is only 0.5x. So then you're putting a lot of money in building something in-house, you're investing money in people, but then you're reaching out to enough audience to justify the people that you have hired. Okay, so that is why you need to keep maintaining this equation. So, and I've given exceptions that in the first year or the initial years, there is exception as well. Okay, like if you see this as an example, that I'm investing say close to 1.2 million rupee, okay, or sorry, 112 million rupees or 1 crore rupees. So when I'm investing, I'll invest in the, on an equation basis. This can be an example, is basically I'm investing 1 rupees in building the asset, improving the asset. And in this particular case, the asset is already built and everything is being taken care of. All that we need to do is maintain that asset and improve that asset. And for that, we will be investing 1 million rupees into it, so that those assets are not dead and they keep on improving it. Okay, so I'm not investing. Remember, I said 1x to 3x. In this particular case, I'm not investing 3x. In the initial invested 3x, we have spent 3 million to build the asset and etc. Those things. So this year we will just maintain that asset, and then you have 1 million which is going to the agent and etc. There, and then we are putting a focus to reach out for sales, so that people who are looking for their services, we can go and build it. As we don't want to go super active on sales. Otherwise, I would have spent maybe 6 million or 1 million on sales, only 1 million on the building the brand, etc. And that should be ideal. But then business to businesses, they have their choices, right? And then 6 million goes into building the brand. So that can be one of the equation. Now, if you see the asset you're building and maintaining gives you return in almost 3 years, and when you invest in sales, you need to look at a 4x to 10x kind of a growth or a return. Say if you're investing say 100,000 into sales, then you should be getting 1 million rupee return, so that's becoming a 10x. Also, you should get a 400,000, so that your cost of acquisition is 25%. Your cost of sales, and then you have things which you're into branding, where your return is based on the reach, sustainability, sales pipeline that you're getting. So that's how you can look at the investment components, that how you're investing and how this is resulting in some type of returns. And where are you investing? As I said, that at the bottom of it comes infrastructure, on top of it comes the enhancers, which are like CRMs, marketing automation, etc., etc. Then on top of it, you're doing certain level of campaigns which can be paid, organic, branding related campaigns, and then you keep on improving it. So that's basically, you can look at from a hierarchical perspective to get a feel of it, that how it looks like. Okay, and in each of this area, it's a completely different industry. Each of this section is an industry in itself, and I'll not spend much time. I've shared this multiple times with a lot of people. So this is in the India, as I said, the investment can be relatively less on reaching out to new people. It will be more into building the assets. So if you see, the agents remain 2 3x, and you invest sales as 1x, investment on marketing and pull as 1. This is again sample that I'm sharing. So initially you might be spending on building the base rather than reaching out to more people, and later on you will be spending more at the instead of that, you will be spending a 1x into asset and 1x into agencies, and maybe spending a 4x or 5x into sales, and 4 to 6x into brand outreach, so that more people know about brand. Okay, so let's take investments one after the other. So when you're investing into asset, what are the things that you should be looking at and you should be very careful with? Is the right type of CMS. You can change the skin of the CMS, which is basically an aspect of it. But if you've selected a wrong CMS, every time you want to invest, into a new area, or you want to do extension of your CMS, it becomes very tough to sustain. It becomes very difficult for you to make those changes. So you need to be very, very careful in what CMS are you selecting. Okay, if you're a pure content-based application where you're just taking your offline information to online, a content management system as simple as WordPress, which is around close to 50% of the market share, will work. If you have a lot of complicated structures and you have a huge amount of pages and you want to manage it separately under separate sections and etc., you might want to go for a advanced level of CMS with Drupal. Okay, and if you see the 1 million websites around the world, if I take it, the percentages of the people who will be using Drupal is around 5%. When I go to top 10,000 websites which are using Drupal, it becomes 6%. So some people use Drupal when they are bigger in nature because that helps them. Okay, if you have a lot of transactions that you're doing in your website, then maybe CMS will be on a Magento or a WooCommerce, etc. So that how you will select your CMS has to be critical. And while selecting, you need to know that this CMS will at least sustain for X number of years, so that you don't do. A lot of people screw up the whole CMS core in itself, like editing the core. And you need to know that CMS's open sources comes with option on a regular basis, so that you can easily upgrade. If you keep on using it at the core level, then it will be very difficult for you to upgrade it. Okay, so then you have the framework. If you are creating your own custom site, custom web applications where you need to do a lot of transactions, you want to, like people can engage with you. At that time, make sure that you're the right framework. There are multiple PHP frameworks that it's or Igniter or any of this, or then there are frameworks in Rail, ASP. So whatever frameworks you are looking at, you need to know that you must be able to get people around it. Everyone in your team is aware of the framework, and that framework allows you to do things faster. People are adhering to the framework so that they are not doing anything which is wrong with respect to the framework. So all of those things need to be in view. And when you're investing into it, especially the website, a lot of people get this kind of a quotation that the website will cost you 50,000 rupees, or the website will cost you a million rupees. So people get that, oh my God, I am paying so much to this company and this company is asking so little. What is the difference? Many companies charge for the sake of charging as well. So what you need to do is do the costing into these 5 categories. How much are you going to invest into experience? How much are you going to invest in UI, which is the design and the aspect of it? How much are you going to invest into marketing, SEO related activities around, like what are the micro formats, whether it is mobile related things that you're doing, how will my website look, etc. Things. Then you have communication style around the copywriting, how well I can build my website. So that's again high skills that is required to build a website for a proper, communication around. And then there is a tech stack. And surprisingly, what happens is, say there is someone who's charging you 1,000 and someone who's charging you 1 million. You will see both of the people are tech stack similarly, and they're charging more or less the same amount of money for tech stack, and rest of the money is invested in UX, UI, marketing, etc., rather than into tech stack. So what you need to know is how the investment is going and whether that investment makes sense for you or not. If your over budget is 10 million, which is a crore rupees, then you should keep a 10% of it in building the asset, or a 30% in building the asset first year. But if your total budget is only 1 million, 10 lakh rupees, then there is no point in building a website for 10 lakhs, because that is not how you should do it. So then you should have the agencies as well as the technological stack and the UI and etc., which will cost you either 100,000 or a 200,000 in that particular range. It's not more than that. So rest of the money can be invested. So always remember the ratio that you need to build in. So it's 10 to 30% of your money should be invested into assets, not more than that. I have seen where the total budget of 80% of the budget has been utilized for assets, and we were left with very little money to reach out to the people, and the whole year collapsed. And by the next year when we went in, we realized that the whole asset that we built for the first year is not even useful, because the whole technology, the whole market has changed. We'll have to rebuild it. So you need to be very careful in how how you are investing into asset, and take good advice before investing into assets. Then what you're looking at is the whole journey of the customer. Now if you look at sales, what you also need to look at is, where is the money going? Is the money going into reaching out to people? If you are reaching out to people, a lot of people are showing interest in you, but then they are coming to your website, and at that particular time your website has no problem, it's aesthetically looks good, it is communication wise, it's UI wise, UX wise, it's good, everything is good, but still people are converting. So what are the things you're seeing on the website? You need to invest a good amount of money in training your website so that the website starts converting. So there is no point in reaching out to more and more people, expecting a 2% conversion rate or 1% conversion rate, and you're not getting that conversion rate. So please invest more money into reaching out to more people. If you know that your target group is right, your advertisement is right, your messaging is right, you selected the right channel, then you should invest money into converting those people by investing into CRO, which is conversion rate optimization, analysis around your customers to understand them better, etc., and convert them with all the challenges, and what are the things which are stopping them from taking a decision. Okay, so sometimes it can be as small as, if I give my money, whether there'll be a refund or not. Okay, so suppose you have not mentioned your name on the website, and people are coming to the website and they feel that you will be too expensive, and that's why they're taking a decision. So you need to understand why people are taking the decision or people are not taking the decision. Okay, so the stuff is there, and when you're reaching out to people, keep reducing the reaching out to people. Today you have reaching options. Some of the things I can share in this presentation, some of the things I can't share in the presentation, because like that's giving us huge competitive advantage without doubt. Is the cost of our reach has come down by 1/10, 1/15 with the changes of that is happening in the Google search engine. So those kind of things you can keep looking at it. Okay, and again, the definition of marketing is meeting needs profitably. So you need to always look at it, what is the right cost of my marketing, cost of my promotion, so that my whole equation looks profitable to me, by either selling more to people or selling multiple times to people, or reducing operation cost, reducing marketing cost. And you need to know what is the cost per acquisition percentage. Is it 5%, 10%, 20% with respect to my first time value of the customer and lifetime value of the customer, and what is acceptable to you? Is it acceptable to you? Is it 5% more acceptable? Is it 100% more than acceptable? Whatever, where you stand. Okay, and this is kind of a one view. So when you want to reach out to people, which market I want to reach out to, which type of the text, video, or what type of consumption I want to reach out to, which target group I want to look at it. Sometimes what happens is, if you reach out to the end customer, it may not be profitable. So you want to reach out to people who will buy in bulk. You want to reach out to influencers who will influence it, rather than reaching out to the end customers. Okay, so what is going to be profitable? Is short term going to be profitable for me? Is mid term going to be profitable? Is long term going to be profitable? So what are the areas where I need to invest? So this gives you a holistic view of all the things that you need to do so that you can take a decision. Okay, and now if you look at branding, and all that you need to remember in branding from a digital perspective is, digital is not just the mass media. Of course you reach out to a lot of people, there are millions of people on digital, and which country, which location you want to target, but if you have a good amount of people, almost 50-60% penetration in most of the countries, if not more, and in India and other places we have 41% of penetration when it comes to digital. So what you need to look at is that you need to, if you have less people, so you can create a small niche, you can create a small audience, and then just do branding to that audience. So sometimes you can just take a 10,000 people and just brand it to them, and go after those people again and again and again. That will be a core audience. They will understand you, they will for them you will become a brand, and they will start interacting with you. If you don't have money to reach out to 100,000 or a million, but you can do branding to a good number of people, you can experiment. Maybe you can create a 5 or 10 different branding units, and then you can see which one is giving me a better return. Maybe some people who are recently married, they might give you a better return to someone who is married for last 5 years. Okay, or celebrating their anniversary and the age group of 32 to 35. All of those kind of targeting are possible on digital. So when you are looking at all of the asset that you're building for branding, try to, say for example, in social media, you create some content, you create some creatives, but what happens to them? You do amplification, but what you need to do is consolidation, so that all of the creatives that you've created becomes an asset. Like, say for example, this year you have done amazing post on wishing 10 important days. Maybe for the next year you take another 10 days and use the creatives of the previous year for the 10 creatives of the next year for the year. So you, instead of wishing 10 important days, this year you can wish people for the 20 important days. So all of those consolidation needs to be done. If you look at marketing or brand building, sometimes marketplaces are not very profitable for you, but a lot of people, marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkarts, and etc. So where people go and check all the reviews that you have got, the number of ratings that you have, etc., and people start believing in you because these are people who have purchased this product and then they have a rating, and this can't be faked, okay, or can't be faked that easily. That's the perception that people have. So if you are a very good rating on the Amazon on the top, so people believe that you are a good brand to deal with. And also try to invest into the right layer which will give you return in a short term. If you have less money as a SME or a startup, don't invest into a audience which is going to give you a return only after 3 years or 4 years. You can invest into someone who will buy your product after 1 month or 2 months or something like that, okay. And if you look at from assets give you short term and mid to long term return, and asset maintenance give you a short term hygiene, and hygiene helps you to survive, and paid and brand give you a short term return for sales if you're investing into, like investment to generate the pull gives you a midterm and long-term sustainability, and earned media and branding generally gives you a short-term sustainability and long-term return. So when you're investing, you should know what is going to give you short-term return, what is going to give you long-term. And if you're not calculating any of this return and you're investing for fun, and then return will also be just enjoy it. And there are a lot of people who are digital by investing and think that it does not work or it works and they get surprised. uh, that can be done, but as of course, as we say that marketing is a creative, it's a responsible creative. Don't leave that responsible behind, and always be responsible to give the returns to the people who are investing the money into it. This is just a sample that you can look at it, how we have invested a 20 million yeah, 20 million. This is the first year of investment, how we have invested into asset maintenance, and investing into certain level of enhancers, and then what amount of money went into paid leads and sales, and then what amount of money went into branding. So this is just an example how we have presented that in an Excel sheet to give you a perspective of how it looks like, okay. And as I said, I wanted to speak for 30 minutes, but I think exceeded 45 minutes. So you can let me know if you have any queries. You can type in the chat box, okay. And I've already got some queries. I will answering those queries. Meanwhile, everyone else have any kind of a query, please ask it. And otherwise, we'll send you a PDF which will tell you further about how to do budgeting right. As I said, I'll not like to give this presentation video recording, so that people can get the PDF. If you have further questions, you can ask us here, and we'll be happy to answer it. Okay, so some of the that I've got is what happens if I have enough budget for asset? So what should I do? Okay. See, what do you mean by do not have enough money to asset building? So when you're building an asset, you have an option to build an asset of yours, which is basically investing money into your own websites where you own the code and you do get everything right, okay. uh, Instead of that, you can go with a SaaS based website, like you can create your website on Wix, or you can make your website on Shopify if you're an e-commerce or something. You will invest less amount of money to own everything that you need, which you will be using on a shared basis, okay. So the way you have an office of your own, so what happens is your initial investment is very high because you need to pay a deposit, which is a security deposit. You need to buy all the electricity items, etc. Place to sit. All things has to be purchased. Whereas go into a co-working space, then all of those are available to inside the co-working, and you can easily use. You don't have to that kind of a money. So SaaS, which is software as a service, is available for all type of things, whether you want to get a CRM, whether you want to get an ERP, whether you want to get a marketing automation, or you want to get a website at a content management level or at a e-commerce level. All of those things are available. So even at a very, very low cost, you can go for the type of an asset. And my suggestion is, if you do not have a lot of money, then you can use Facebook as an asset, so that you, or LinkedIn as an asset, instead of a website. On the website, just plain and simple, you just say that this is who we are, and if you're interested to know more about us, call us, because we have not built the website. For more details, go to our LinkedIn page or go to our Facebook page or go to LinkedIn. And I have seen a lot of people who are into artisans who build everything on Instagram or Pinterest or Facebook, and they're getting good sales out of it, and they don't have any website as such. They just do it on the Facebook itself. Less asset is to be properly thought of investing. Okay. If you have any more queries, keep on asking. Yes. So the next question I have is, cutting down the cost of reach. How do I cut down the cost of reach? And currently, if my cost of reach is very, very high, how do I understand whether my reach is very expensive or my conversion rate is not happening? Okay. Interesting question again. So what you need to do is, see, you need to put that into an Excel sheet and see that, okay, my reach is going to cost me, say, 10 rupees. Okay. So then I'm reaching out to 10 people. If I'm getting one out of it, so 100 rupees is costing me one. If 100 rupees is okay with you, which is 10% of your total, so then you are happy. You are selling a product at 100 rupees. So then your cost of acquisition is 50 rupees. So then at that 50%, at that time you need to look at it whether that is sustainable for you or not. Okay. If it is not sustainable, I believe that 10%, you will not get better conversion rate than 10%. Then you do is, instead of going to Google, whether there are alternatives, go to Google. Can we get the same people at a lesser price? Can I look at certain areas, instead of paying a 10 rupee, 2 rupees to get the amount of audience or the right type of and get there? Should I have impulsive market like Facebook and all, where I can get it at a 1 rupee, 2 rupee click? Will convert at percentage? Then your cost of acquisition down. Or you want to look at it, can I increase my targeting a little better, so that my cost of my conversion rate can increase? Or I can look at it, okay, I'm getting 200 rupees per person, but can I do something where I can charge person 300 rupees or 500 rupees, and I repeatedly sell to this person, so that my cost of acquisition gets down. So all of those things you can look at it, so that you get the kind of return. Okay. So that is my second question. I have probably time for another two questions. So you asked me another one or two questions that I have. And all right. Yes. The third question that we have is that, we need to invest into, you said don't invest into SEO, but SEO is a very critical part of it. We have always been investing into SEO. And why have you said that invest into SEO? Let me clarify this. I didn't say that don't invest. I told to experiment with paid advertisement, as this is the philosophy I keep telling people, is that sometimes paid is cheaper than non-paid. So when you put money into advertisement, what is going to is, you'll spend a 10 rupees, 15 rupees, 30 rupees, and you get to your website. And when you're getting the traffic to your website, if your conversion rate is an X percentage, now you see that this is very visible for you. You know, okay, these are the type keywords which are working for you. During this advertisement, you also long tail keywords which are converting really good. And around the keywords, and so maybe I can make a special on how to cloud in SEO. A lot of people invest into SEO, but you should not be investing into special, but you should be investing in cluster around SEO, so that you get a better return out of it. So how do you do the clustering, and do you get long tail, find some specific area of this long word, and you can cluster those words together, and then cluster? That will. What I said is, a lot of people invest into SEO with a hope, not a strategy. then my return come after 1 year. So just hoping does not give you return. So please don't invest into SEO hoping that you will get. Don't invest into SEO expecting that you'll get a return. Invest into SEO, know that you're going to get a return. Okay, that should happen if you start small with a long tail, and every month you're getting some, every 6 months you're increasing your sales or your return. At least you're seeing a progressive return rather than saying that, oh, I'm going to invest for next 2 years and after 2 years I'll get a return. Gone are those days when you would have had that kind of return. So that's why I said don't invest into SEO like that. Okay, so I'll have another 2-3 questions. Looks like the questions that you're asking is generally covered in the presentation. I'll not touch. Okay, hygiene, RB hygiene. As I said, I don't want to take that in this particular question. Hopefully that gives you some idea about return and investment. Okay, again, I'm saying that when you're investing, all the investment goes from the current year, all the return may not come into the current year. So you need to look at it. How are your stakeholders relating to it? Are they ready to invest this year and waiting for the return next year? If not, so please invest most of your money that gives you return this year. Okay, and in this first year, tell the return that you're getting in the first year is going to be less than the return that you'll get in the next year and the year. And you can show them that, okay, in quarter 1 my return was less, in quarter 2 my return increased, in quarter 3 my return increased, in quarter 4 my return increased. So you show the progressive growth of return on investment. So the management or someone who is interested in understanding the ROI see the return of returns. So that is how you can show it to people. Okay, so show the growth of return on investment rather than looking at the whole 1 year. Every quarter, every month is better and better. Okay, and that I've shown multiple companies I'm working with. As long as they see a progressive return, they'll be happy to invest more and grow that return further and further. Okay, and said all of those things, do really well in your digital business and invest right and grow right. Hopefully this helps some of you to invest better in your digital marketing practice. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in our next webinar. Thank you so much for all who have attended, and some of the people who could not attend, send them the PDF. Thank you once again.